Hey everybody, welcome back once again to Marvel Live here at San Diego Comic-Con 2013. I am Marvel.com editor Ben Morse, and we are brought to you by Dr. Pepper, always one of a kind. I've got with me Bad Influence from TNA Impact Wrestling.
And I'm Kazarian. I used to be known as Dr. Salt, but for legal purposes I had to change my name.
I'm Christopher Daniels, 4 out of 5 doctors agree that I'm great for you.
Except for Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, he's not a real doctor.
More importantly, we have joining us our Chief Creative Officer here at Marvel, Joe Quesada.
Hey, how are you?
Joe, how are you doing? How are you enjoying the show so far?
I'm doing great. I'm feeling a little intimidated with these guys behind me here.
Please.
We're on your side.
We're all pals here.
Your
Come
side.
on.
You get used to them. They're like
We're the ones who should be intimidated.
They're
By
like
the way. Come
elevator
on.
music. How many cons have you been coming to? How many San Diego Comic Cons is this for you?
It's over 20.
Really?
Yeah, I started thinking about it the other day, and when I realized it was over 20, I'm like, I don't want to count. I don't want to go back.
No more.
So, yeah.
So when you first started coming, it was not obviously this big deal.
No, there was nothing like this.
Just
It
a
was
small comic
It's
show.
like one guy with a table.
Yeah.
You know. but-
What's it been like watching kind of the evolution, and also it parallels your career because you started out, doing art, doing stuff like that, and then editor-in-chief, chief creative officer, going all the way up the ladder.
Yeah, except with less cosplay.
Yeah.
But no,
Not that much less.
Yeah. You've been over at my house. Is that what's going on? So it's been fantastic. It really is. It's daunting. It's crazy. It's impressive as hell. But it's fantastic to see what the comic industry has become, and what the sort of our genre has really become in all these years.
I want to let you guys know if you have any questions for Joe, you can use the hashtag MarvelSDCC, and we will get
Keep
those
it
answered
clean.
for you. Yeah, please keep it clean.
Hey, since we're here and we're both very handsome, I've already got a question for him. Joe, as the Chief Creative Officer, it's a big year for Marvel with the movies coming out, with the television show Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. coming up September. It's hard. It's almost like saying, what's your favorite child, but what are you most proud of for Marvel? What's coming on the horizon for Marvel that's being announced here at the con? What's the big deal for you this year?
Well, nothing necessarily hasn't been announced already, but for me, Thor's
I just let him out of the bag.
Thor's coming out, Captain America's going to be coming out next year, but I'm really excited about Guardians of the Galaxy because it's a change of pace for us. It's a different kind of movie, and I think fans are going to be blown away and incredibly surprised by what we do with those characters. And in particular, I have a fond feeling for Rocket Raccoon. It's just one of my favorite characters. So I'm really looking forward to what happens with that character and how fans are going to just fall in love with him. As well as Groot.
Right.
You cannot fall in love with Groot.
Well, they're a team. How involved were you as far as the creative committee with Guardians of the Galaxy? I know in the past movies, you've been right there. Is Guardians of the Galaxy, were you right in the mix once again?
Yeah, the creative committee has been involved with Guardians, just like every one of our other movies. So we've been involved in the mix. They're feverishly filming in London right now. So I think people at Hall H might be pleasantly surprised. They might
That's right.
see
coming up in just a little bit. We got a huge panel college.
Yep.
Yeah. Now, over on the television side, how have you been doing with the new animated shows? I know that's a big thing for you, a big passion is working on the animated series.
It's crazy. We have so many shows going on right now. It's hard to keep up, actually, because also we now have Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and that just adds to the mix. So television is growing in such a phenomenal rate that it's getting very, very hard to keep up with everything. I'm spending as much time in LA as I do in New York these days.
Yeah.
I
don't see you around the office.
No, and let me tell you, I really miss it because publishing is so near and dear to me. That's where I started. So I love being in the mix in publishing, but it's very, very tough because we got so much other stuff going on as well.
How do you keep up with what's going on in publishing while you're floating out to LA? Because you'll come in for a creative summit and you're right on the spot and you got to get right back in the mix.
I try to read as many of the comics as I possibly can, but even that's tough to do because there's scripts to read and for all our other shows. So I do my best, and I have people in publishing who sort of give me breakdowns of here's what's going on and stuff. But publishing is also in great hands with Axel Alonso and Tom Brevoort and Steve Wacker and Mark Panice and Nick Lowe and all the great editors we have there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, one thing we talked about last year at Comic-Con, remember, we're coming up on the Marvel Now launch. And one of the things that were very important to you was you wanted to redefine the way we do covers.
Right.
You wanted to put everything down at the bottom and really give people a chance to open up.
Yep.
Almost 1 year in, how do you feel like that's working? How do you feel like people are pushing the boundaries?
I think it's been great, and because look, the big fear was, we've done covers traditionally like this for so long, right? The logo goes here, the rest of the information goes here, and as we start reaching into the digital age, it's not as important. So I think it's really opened up our artists to do some great design work and some spectacular covers. I think it's been working fine.
Absolutely. Christopher, I'm going to turn it over for you for a sec while I look for some Twitter questions here from Mr. Quesada.
Well, I was going to ask about the Marvel Now. Now that you're 1 year in, what do you think has been the title that has most benefited from either a change of creative team or a change of outlook? Like, what do you think has been like the home run of the Marvel Now line at this point?
Well, I mean, they've been
And not singling out anyone because they're all great, but.
No, listen. I think they've all really done very, very well. Titles like Avengers have always done well. So, but I think Jonathan Hickman taking over Avengers, he's done a great job because he had huge shoes to fill with Brian Bendis, going off of that. But I also think giving titles like Guardians of the Galaxy a much needed platform, and who would have thought that Guardians of the Galaxy could be a top-selling book or #1 book actually? So those things have been really beneficial, and those are things that happen with Marvel Now that I think we've all benefited from. So very proud of those books as well, and books like Hawkeye that have just gotten just an incredible critical praise, nominated for so many awards, and it's a wonderful book.
And it won one last night.
I'm sorry, I had not seen the eyes.
David Aja and Chris Samnee tied for best pencil inker.
Yes, I know that.
So best possible outcome for us.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Actually, I saw Chris about an hour ago, and I said, you know what, a tie is unacceptable. He and Aja have to either arm wrestle or wrestle in Jello. Or you guys can referee.
We'll referee. We'll set him up.
Because
Fairsy squaresy.
One standing. You can't have this tie thing.
Maybe just a heated debate.
Yeah. So we've got a question for Joe coming in from Living in Classic. Hello, Mr. Joe Quesada.
Hello.
What would you suggest to the people who are into art and planning to be an artist in the future?
There's a lot of things to suggest. I mean, most importantly, learn your craft.
Yeah.
Learn, draw. My daughter's 12 years old, and she wants to go into a high school that is an art-based high school. And we've had long discussions about this. That at 12, she's drawing from animated shows, and she's doing very cartoony stuff. And I'm like, that's great if that's what you want to do in the future, but you have to start drawing from life. So she went out, she bought herself a sketchbook, and now she's like, drawing her friends, her family, and her stuffed animals, whatever it may be. But she's starting to draw from life, and you have to learn to draw. That's the most important thing. And then once you start building on your craft, then everything else falls into place. You can try to figure out exactly where you want your art to go. Do you want to be an illustrator? Do you want to be a comic artist? Do you want to be an animator? What do you want to do? But you have to learn your craft. It starts there. There are no shortcuts.
On a side note, it absolutely freaks me out that your daughter is now 12 years old. She's 12 years old. She was when I started at Marvel, so I can only imagine how it is for you.
Yes, it's getting a little scary.
It's getting a little scary.
I got my baseball bat in the trunk.
Watch out, kids.
Yeah.
We've got another one from Paul Allen Frederick. This is a great one. Is there a chance of Nocchio the Clown will come back?
Paul, I honestly don't know. That's probably a question for Axel.
Yeah?
Yeah, but...
we had him on earlier, but...
What did he say?
I didn't ask him.
You say so. Sorry, Paul, I wish I could help you, man.
I'll have to ask him later. So what's on the docket for the rest of San Diego for you? You already did your Cup of Joe panel. How do you think it went?
It was great. It was great. When we started the panel, admittedly, the audience was a little low on energy.
Right.
And as we started to get into the Q&A session, it got crazy. It was a lot of fun as always, and it's actually some of the best questions I've had at a panel in a really, really, really long time. So it was fun. It was a lot of fun. But
I always like when you talk about the reason you started the Cup of Joe panel, basically because that's the type of panel you would have wanted to go to.
Yeah, no, listen, I would love to be able to speak to the heads of companies and one-on-one and just ask them anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it went well as always. Every Cup of Joe is different.
Yeah.
It's a different atmosphere, and it really is. It's all up to the fans. If the energy's there, then we got the energy. If it's not, then it's a short panel. Yeah. So, but for the rest of the day, I mean, after I'm done with you, I go over there and I sign.
Nice.
And then from there, I take a little bit of break, and then it's over to Hall H. For the madness, man.
We're gonna be out here, but you guys can follow our coverage of Hall H, the big Marvel Films panel. That's gonna be starting at 6. You go right to Live Blog Central, right here on this page. You can check that out. I was wondering, what do you get asked to sign the most when you're doing signs at conventions now?
Depends. It really depends. I'm guessing,
The undergarments?
Huh?
The undergarments?
There was
you
a
get asked
time.
okay.
There was a time.
Oh, not that depends.
There was a
Okay,
time,
yeah.
That was, before Disney, there was time.
Okay, I got you. Yeah.
That's right. So, there still are times. I think that's going to get pulled off of pulled off the line. I'm going to suspect. So I'm going to guess today it's probably gonna be a lot of Angela covers.
Yeah, right.
I'm guessing. You know, I don't. The issue with me right now is that since I don't do a lot of work, it tends to be most of the books that I've done covers from.
Sure.
So I'm guessing I did a lot of Marvel Now covers.
Yeah, all the Marvel
so it's
Now
probably
variants.
Marvel Now and Angela, and the year before that was Spider-Man anniversary issues and things. So we'll see. You never know.
Let's talk about Angela real quick,
Yeah.
because this was, as you said, you're not doing art as often, you're doing the occasional cover side of that, but this is something you dove into, redesigning this character.
Yeah.
Why was it important to you to get so involved in this character?
You know, it was a fun challenge, not to just redesign the character, but I also worked out a large story document on how she gets into the Marvel Universe. And, you know, thanks to the help of Neil Gaiman and Brian Bendis and a group of Marvel editors, we were able to really form this document that, to me, is more important than what she looks like. Because what we wanted to do was, we wanted Angela to come into the Marvel Universe, and while it's not going to be immediately evident to fans, she has been ingrained in the Marvel Universe for a very, very long time. So she's going to hit the ground running. But the other part of it was that I wanted to be respectful to the stuff that Todd had created, along with Neil and Greg Capullo. So while we cannot, delve into the Spawn universe and that continuity, if you've read those books, her continuity could very easily fall right into what was happening in the McFarlane universe. So we're very respectful to that stuff. But she's now part of the Marvel universe, so it could have all have happened in a very easy fashion. I promise you, it will freak people out.
Yeah, and that's going to be unfolding slowly. We'll get a little bit in Guardians.
Yeah, I think within a year. Within a year, you'll get the full story. But you know, as I sort of pull Marvel senior staffers aside and say, this is what she is, and like, what?
Yeah.
So, you know, if I'm blowing their minds, I think fans will get blown away too.
Absolutely. All right, before we head up, we got 1 minute left. Joe, where can people find you on social media, on the internet? Because you're very accessible. Just like your Cup of Joe panels, you can reach me anytime.
I'm on Twitter, Joe Quesada, you know, and I'm on Facebook as well.
Yeah?
Find me there.
Are we friends?
Acquaintances?
In real life,
Yeah,
or
we're
are we
friends.
talking? Yeah.
Sure.
Sure, yeah, right.
So yeah, you can find me there, you know, and I'm around. So find me a Cup of Joe as well. You know, next one will be in New York on.
Very nice.
So we'll have a big one there as
New York
well.
coming up this fall. All right,
Awesome.
we're going to be
And don't
going...
forget, Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I know we haven't talked enough about it. I know you guys haven't done anything with S.H.I.E.L.D. at all.
I'm not familiar.
Right.
But,
So
anyways,
ABC, Tuesday nights.
We're going to be back in a sec with Blair Butler
8
and
o'clock.
Ben Dagley from First Media Show. Thank you, Joe Quesada.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you to Bad
Guys, thanks,
Influence.
man.
We'll be
Thank
back.
you, Joe.
You're watching Marvel Live, brought to you by Dr. Pepper. Always one of a kind.
Marvel, your universe.